Good evening. We are following breaking news at this hour. Former One Direction star Liam Payne is dead after falling from a hotel window. The tragic news shocking his beloved fans. The 31-year-old reportedly staying in Buenos Aires weeks after attending the concert of his former bandmate, Niall Horan. Here's what we know right now. The pop singer was staying at a hotel in Palermo, which is a trendy neighborhood in Buenos Aires. According to Telemundo, he fell from his third-floor balcony. Local police say they went to the hotel after receiving a 911 call reporting an aggressive man who could be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. These are live pictures tonight right now from outside the hotel. You can see the crowd surrounding the building and an emergency vehicle just outside the entrance. The boy band star just posting these photos to social media earlier today. And it was just 2 weeks ago when he was greeted by screaming fans as he attended his former bandmate Niall Horan's concert there. Payne was one of 5 members of One Direction, a pop band amassing millions of fans with hit songs and movies. The songs like What Makes You Beautiful, you may know. The group has since been on hiatus since around 2016. NBC's Sam Brock joins us now live with the late-breaking details. Sam, what can you tell us?
Sure, of course. One Direction, Tom, is a touchstone for a lot of folks, right? This very popular band over the course of the last couple of decades, really, as you said, breaking up in 2016 or at least going on hiatus. In terms of what we know at this hour, let me set the framework. So the emergency management services in Buenos Aires, in collaboration with police, provided what we know at this hour to Telemundo. So we're primarily operating out of that. And I say emergency services and police because of the details that we're now learning. 31-year-old Liam Payne, according to those services, fell off of his balcony and died somewhere within the hotel grounds. They are also saying that there was a call placed to 911 for a man who was, quote, aggressive and potentially under the influence of drugs or alcohol. That was never clarified, so we don't know definitively one way or the other. That is the backstory as far as Liam Payne and One Direction. This was a group that was formed back in 2010, Tom, during the X Factor reality British TV show, and went on to just incredible lengths and successes. They were the first group to have an album debut at #1 on the Billboard 200. Their first 4 albums, according to Billboard. And of course, you know, you have some household names there as well, whether it's Zayn Malik or Harry Styles, Liam Payne, certainly. And now we are in this tragic place in the music world where he has died, and the exact details of how he fell off the balcony are unclear. There are reports ongoing right now from Buenos Aires about some details that we're hearing what could have transpired with police, but unfortunately none of that is verified, so we can't report it at this hour, but we do know that Payne tragically fell off of his balcony and died earlier today.
And then, Sam, before you go, I want to circle back to this. Have we heard from his team or from his family tonight?
We have not heard from his camp. We have not heard from his family. I did just check Harry Styles' accounts, Zayn Malik's accounts. So far, they have not tweeted or posted or put anything on social media as a tribute or even shedding any light on what happened to their friend and their former bandmate. But certainly, those calls are being placed right now. We're trying to get more information, Tom.
Okay. Sam Brock for us. Sam, we appreciate you on that breaking story. For more on Liam Payne's career and legacy, I want to bring in entertainment journalist and a friend to Top Story, Baker Machado. Baker, so great to have you here. You've covered One Direction. They were one of the biggest bands in the world at the time. And again, their members, when they went solo, they were also huge shoes artists. Talk to me about what this means to the fans.
This is devastating across the board, just because they're such a global brand, as you mentioned, being found by Simon Cowell, by the way, in 2010 on the UK show, The X Factor. And all of the songs that they were able to create, 4 #1 hits, albums on the Billboard Hot 100, over 50 different albums, or million records that they sold over the course of that period of time. They are a global phenomenon, and each one of them, when they broke up in 2016, went on to do their own things and went on to great success from there, from Harry Styles to Zayn Malik to Louis Tomlinson. The list goes on and on here. We should note that Liam Payne has talked in the past about substance abuse problems. He did check himself into rehab back in 2022 for about 100 days, and then on a podcast in 2023, he did say that he was sober, but he was dealing with sobriety issues at the time. But this was a big moment for him, that he was turning this big corner in his life. He also did say that when he was going to go see Niall Horan's show, he was going there to talk about the past, which I think is really interesting. He's talked about substance abuse problems that he had when he was part of the band as well. So who knows if that was one thing that they got together and talked about. But he was really sort of on the ups. He was going to be putting out some new music next year. He was also going to be in this new Netflix show that was going to be debuting next year as well, called Building the Band, where he was going to be going out looking for the next big boy band.
And that's
so sad news here.
Yeah, right. right? Because from what people have told me, some of our producers, they were all talented, but he was one of the most talented, right, in this group?
He wrote a lot of the songs for the band, which a lot of people don't really know about. I mean, the thing is yes, Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson and a lot of the other members get a lot of the recognition, but still Liam Payne was a really big force within that group. And so this is really devastating, awful news all over social media here.
So they break up about 10 years ago. What is that last decade? You mentioned some of the issues with substance abuse, but what has that last decade been like?
He's put out a couple different EPs and LPs, but he hasn't put out a full-length album. He's also had some different issues with relationships. He's been, as with Cheryl Cole, as we mentioned, he has a son and a toddler with her. He also was engaged to another girl a few years ago as well. Now he's dating an influencer named Kate Cassidy. So he's had some issues with relationships in the past, but he said just as late as 2023, he had been turning this corner because of sobriety.
All right. Well, we are still getting the news in, but Baker, we appreciate you. Next tonight to North Carolina, where it's been almost 3 weeks since floodwaters swept through the western part of the state. That's where dozens of people remain unaccounted for, and one of the biggest challenges remains getting the schools reopened. NBC's Kathy Park is there with late details.
Tonight, classrooms remain closed for thousands of students in North Carolina after Hurricane Helene wreaked havoc across the state. Some schools scrambling to restore water, even installing wells. In Asheville, officials aim to have kids back in class by October 28th.
How realistic is that?
We are full steam ahead because we know our kids need to be in school.
With no power and spotty internet, virtual learning was not an option, disconnecting so many students.
So I was like alone with nothing to do.
This week, the school system stepping up to address the learning loss with optional class time.
This is, to me, one of the most important things that we could do as a school system to help our students feel like they are still part of our community.
What is the biggest challenge right now when it comes to the recovery?
Right now is a huge tourism time for us in Western North Carolina. Our school depends on a lot of the sales tax to fund our school. So we're seeing a loss in that right now because we don't have tourists coming into our city.
It's a critical time for Asheville, a popular tourist destination for the fall.
A lot of our businesses aren't going to have the revenue that they need in order to make it.
Among them, Wedge Brewery.
How much did this business mean to you?
This business is my life.
General Manager Lucius Wilson says they're all taking the recovery day by day.
Yeah, we had food. I need help. My family needs help. My community needs help. We need help from everybody.
We are in the River Arts District, and typically this time of year, this area would be packed. The tourism dollars lost now could mean some businesses will stay closed indefinitely. Tom?
All right, Kathy Park for us. And as the community recovers, there are still more than 80 people that remain unaccounted for in North Carolina as search and rescue efforts continue. Our next guest's mother has been missing since September 27th when Hurricane Helene hit. You see her right here. It swept her mother's vacation home into a river in the mountains of North Carolina. Jessica Meidinger joins us now. And Jessica, we thank you for joining Top Story tonight. I'm so sorry to hear this about your mother. Tell our viewers what's happened and when the last time you talked to your mother was.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's been almost 3 weeks since the last time I talked to my mom. I talked to her on her way up to the mountains with my stepdad, Rod. They were going up to kind of lift the floodgates on their house because they hadn't installed that yet. So they needed to lift it so that the structure remained intact and didn't create a dam. And we heard that they made it there safely, and that's the last time I had heard from her.
And then I understand your stepfather, was he in the house at the time with your mother?
Yes, they both were in the house. They had noticed there was flooding that morning, and so they were kind of wrapping up some things to get out before the flooding got higher and they couldn't drive out anymore. And then something happened where something came barreling down the river and took out a post of their house, and before they could make it onto the balcony to jump to the bank, their house slid into the water, and they were floating in the house as it was going downriver, and it hit an embankment and it collapsed on top of them. And at that point, they were still floating on the debris of the house. And Rod, my stepdad, was able to get over to my mom and was pulling her out of the debris when they hit a tree and they were separated into the water.
I'm so sorry that he had to go through that as well. That sounds wild. Have they found any evidence of the house? Has anybody seen anything, or has it been nothing since that happened?
No, so there were actually multiple witness accounts of that happening. You saw that picture of the house floating down the river. They saw the house collapse. There were 2 individuals that saw Rod, pulling her out of the debris when they hit the tree. And so we've been able to pinpoint where she was last located. We've also found the house is spread out all along that river. I mean, we found pieces of the house, I guess it would have been about 10 miles downriver. It was a fairly new house, and so it was easy to pick out what was from that house specifically. And so we found a lot of things that kind of lead us to believe where along the river she should be, but it's, like I said, 10 miles, and that's a lot of ground to search with a lot of debris and a lot of sediment that's piling over top of where she possibly could be.
Who's been helping you try to find her?
Well, to begin with, it was kind of local government, and then FEMA stepped in and they brought in a lot of resources, and then they had to shift away. I mean, there's a lot of people in need right now, and they had dedicated a lot of time and money there, and unfortunately they came up empty, but it shifted back to local government. And now, being almost 3 weeks out, it's really shifted to volunteers at this point. Local government really have kind of stepped aside a little bit and focusing their efforts on other people that need help through the winter. And so it's really just volunteers at this point.
Are you satisfied with what the government has done so far to try to help find your mom?
It's a difficult question. When you're up there, you realize just how hard it is to find someone. And I was up there this past weekend, and it's wild how difficult and how many different areas and what it takes. You have to get excavators out there. You have to get cadaver dogs, and there's more than just my mom, right? You're sifting through so much. There's animals that could be causing things to pop up for cadaver dogs and things like that. And so do I think that they tried very, very hard to find her? Yes, I do. Do I think there's more that can be done? Absolutely. She's not found yet.
Do you think do you think people have forgotten what's happened in North Carolina already?
I mean, given it's an election year, it's a hard time to, stay atop the news cycle. And with Hurricane Milton that came in right after, it also kind of hushed some of the stories being told. But I know that me personally, I've seen a continual prayer cycle, people reaching out. And so I can't speak for America, but I know our family feels that a lot of people are still very invested in her story and our story, and are continuing to say prayers and offer help where they can.
I know you're pregnant. Our producers told me that. And I ask you this, and I know it's not an easy question to answer, but do you have hope?
For what? For her to be alive?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately. Again, having been up there and downriver, there's not really any civilization downriver. It's just miles of river up in the mountains. And so if she had been alive when she went into the water and was able to find her way to an embankment, I think she would have been found by now. She would have been smart enough to stay by the river to find her way upstream back to where she recognized. And we've had drones, we've had helicopters, we've had people walk up and down that entire river. And I don't believe that she's with us anymore, no.
What do you want people to remember about her?
She's just an incredibly compassionate, loving, selfless person who always had patience no matter what someone was going through. She met them with kindness, and she met them with patience, and she met them where they were and helped guide them to a better place. And I think that that's a lesson that we all can learn, is that, people inherently, you want to believe they're good, and sometimes they're just going through a hard time. And so meeting someone with kindness and patience is a much better way to live.
Jessica, we thank you for sharing your story and talking about your mom here on Top Story. And we promise to continue to cover the recovery effort and everything that's happening in North Carolina. But again, we thank you for your time, because I know it's tough.
Thank you very much.
We do want to turn on to other news we've been following this week, and it involves a case out of California, the Menendez brothers. More than a dozen members of their extended family calling for their release at a news conference in Los Angeles. This as the LA District Attorney weighs whether the brothers convicted of killing their parents 3 decades ago should be resentenced. Our Liz Croyd spoke to the DA earlier today. He says he has hopes to announce a decision in the next 10 days.
It's the latest twist tonight for the notorious Menendez brothers, several of their family members calling for their release.
Their actions, while tragic, were the desperate response of two boys trying to survive the unspeakable cruelty of their father.
Among those supporting Eric and Lyle Menendez, the 92-year-old sister of Kitty Menendez, who was murdered by her sons in 1989, along with her husband Jose in their Beverly Hills home.
If Lyle and Eric's case were heard today, with the understanding we now have about abuse and PTSD, there is no doubt in my mind that their sentencing would have been very different.
Relatives of both Kitty and Jose arguing new evidence under review by the LA District Attorney backs the brothers' long-standing claim they acted in self-defense after years of abuse by their father.
I grew up knowing and feeling something wasn't right. The feeling in their house and the father-son interactions were just off.
The brothers, currently serving life without parole, getting renewed attention sparked by the popular new Netflix series. But the family is split. An attorney for Kitty's brother says he believes his nephews were motivated by greed and wants them to remain behind bars.
Does your client believe the brothers' claim that they acted in self-defense after years of physical and sexual abuse?
Milton Anderson does not believe that, but should those allegations have been true, it doesn't excuse what they did to their parents, and it doesn't excuse the murders that they committed.
All right, Liz Kreutz joins us tonight from L.A. So, Liz, you spoke with DA Gascon today. What else did he say?
Yeah, Tom, so the DA said that he does believe the Menendez brothers' claims that they were molested by their father. He also said he does not believe, based on the evidence he has seen so far, that they should be spending the rest of their life in prison. That said, Tom, he has not yet formally made a decision. He's continuing to review the evidence. He's hoping to get a file from the prison where Lyle and Eric are being held to see whether or not the prison backs up the claims that the brothers have been rehabilitated. He says he hopes to make a decision on whether to recommend a resentencing within the next 10 days. From there, if he does recommend that, it would go to a court and then a judge would make the final decision. Tom.
All right, Liz Kreutz for us. Liz, we appreciate that. Still ahead tonight, the body cam footage of an arrest in Phoenix sparking outrage. The disturbing video as officers punch and taser a black man who is deaf with cerebral palsy, the moments leading up to the troubling encounter. Plus, tragedy in paradise, a day at the beach in Hawaii taking a deadly turn, what we know about the tourists pulled out to sea. And voting rights for felons, the new Supreme Court ruling in Nebraska allowing thousands to now cast their ballots. Stay with us. Back now with an arrest that is under review. Tonight in Phoenix, police body cam shows two officers repeatedly punching and tasering a black man as they tried to arrest him. That man, who his family says is deaf and has cerebral palsy, now charged with resisting arrest and assault charges his lawyers call unjust. NBC's Morgan Chesky has a full report and a warning to viewers. Some of this story in this video is hard to watch.
Hey, buddy, stop where you're at. Just seconds after making contact. Let's see. Phoenix police officers scuffling with, then forcing Tyrone McAlpin to the ground. Taser, taser, taser. McAlpin, who is deaf and has cerebral palsy, appearing confused. Get your hands behind your back. As officers shout commands. In this body cam footage from August 19th, provided by his attorney. Officers repeatedly punching McAlpin's head, then tasering him 4 separate times. The officers, Benjamin Harris and Kyle Sue, were responding to a call of an altercation at the Circle K convenience store, according to police reports provided by McAlpin's attorney. The caller reportedly indicated the aggressor was a white male who refused to leave the store. And when officers questioned that man on scene, they say he accused McAlpin of trying to steal his bike and punching him.
We're saying that's the guy that assaulted right there.
In response, officers rushed to detain McAlpin. But his lawyer tells NBC News both policemen failed to use due diligence.
At no point do you believe that proper police protocol was followed here?
That's correct. The reason for the contact with Tyrone McAlpin is supposed to be just to investigate what happened at the Circle K. What Officer Harris does instead is he doesn't activate his lights. He leaps out of the car, and when you watch his body camera, you see his hands going forward, outstretched, grabbing Tyrone. All he had to do was step out of the vehicle and give Tyrone a chance to respond to him.
It's not clear that the officers knew McAlpin was deaf when he was first approached. His wife arriving moments after the confrontation, trying to explain her husband's situation.
What kind of disabilities do you have?
He's deaf and he's got cerebral palsy.
Saying she was FaceTiming with McAlpin before police moved in, using sign language to communicate.
How is he deaf if you've been on the phone?
Because I know sign language, that's why.
Officers at one point even threatening to detain her.
Ma'am, over there on the sidewalk, or you're going to go to jail.
McAlpin's been charged with 3 felonies, 2 counts of aggravated assault on the arresting officers, and 1 count of resisting arrest. The 2 officers both reporting injuries.
Broke my hand. Did he bite you? Yeah.
In response to questions about officers' actions, Phoenix police said in part, the incident is the subject of an ongoing internal investigation. The Maricopa County attorney now reviewing the charges against McAlpin, saying in part, I believe this case merits additional scrutiny.
Tyrone spent 24 days in jail as a result of these charges before he could make bail. And he and his wife have a 6-month-old son. He's afraid to go outside. He's afraid to walk the streets in his neighborhood. And no American citizen should ever have to feel that way because of the actions of police.
And tonight, regarding those 2 police officers in question, Phoenix PD staying tight-lipped about their current status, not sharing whether they've been placed on administrative leave or if they're continuing to work patrols. And some important context here, Tom, is that Phoenix Police Department is just a few months removed from the results of a Department of Justice investigation. This lasted 3 years. It was released back in June. And what it found were several concerning things. Number one being that communities of color were disproportionately targeted. It also found several examples of excessive uses of force. In response to that report, the city of Phoenix acknowledged that it needs to take measures recommended by the DOJ, and it has promised a greater level of accountability as well. Tom?
Okay, Morgan Chesky for us tonight. Morgan, thank you for that. When we come back, migrants going to great lengths to create a better life in the U.S. In New York, mothers with their children selling candy on city subways. We speak with one woman who says it's her only option to feed her family right now. Her treacherous journey to the States and the new program working to keep her kids and others safe. That's next. All right, we're back now with Top Stories news feed. 2 people are dead and another injured after they were swept into the ocean in Hawaii. 3 tourists aged 72, 63, and 41 were swept out into 6 to 8 foot waves at Keiki Beach on Oahu's north side. Authorities say lifeguards were posting no swimming signs at the time and were able to bring the group to shore. 1 person was pronounced dead at the scene and a second died at the hospital. A third is in critical condition tonight. A former politician sentenced to life in prison for the 2022 murder of a reporter in Las Vegas. A jury convicting Robert Tellis in August for the fatal stabbing of Jeff German. German, you'll remember, was an investigative journalist who criticized Tellis's behavior in office. The judge sentencing Tellis to the maximum sentence with the possibility of parole in 28 years. Nebraska Supreme Court ruling that convicted felons who have completed their sentence will be able to vote. Nebraska's High Court clearing the way for a law that allows felons to vote without waiting 2 years following their sentences. The state's top election officials had challenged the law. Nebraskans have to register before the online deadline this Friday or the in-person one next week to vote in the presidential election. And a memorial service held today for the late Ethel Kennedy. President Biden and former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton all eulogizing the late wife of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. The Kennedy matriarch died last week at 96 following a stroke earlier this month. The family held a private service in Massachusetts on Monday. Ethel Kennedy's advocacy work earned her the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2014. Okay, we want to turn now to some migrant mothers here in New York. They are selling candy and fruit that are seen all across the city, and they are often undocumented migrants who take their children to work with them when they have no other access to childcare. Our Valerie Castro spoke with one of them about the challenge to get to the U.S. and now the challenge of supporting her family.
They've become part of the fabric of New York City life, slipping in and out of subway cars, calling for anyone to buy what they're selling. The candy vendors on trains and fruit vendors on the platforms are typically migrant women, often seen with their young children in tow. At times, the children themselves also seen selling goods. Lorena is one of them. She is currently seeking asylum in the U.S. after arriving with her husband and 3-year-old daughter last year.
Yo trabajo domingo a domingo. Todos los días. Todos los días.
The family's harrowing journey from their native Ecuador took them through a dangerous jungle where she says they encountered thieves with machine guns, human bodies along the trail, and snakes. Lorena describing a moment when she hid money inside her daughter's diapers so it wouldn't be stolen.
$250.
But she says the family persevered, hoping to give their only child a better life.
Me da pena porque ella es la única hija. No tengo más hijos. Solo es única. Yo tuve a mi hija a los 37 años y ella es la milagro de Dios porque yo seguí tantos tratamientos para tener. No tuve nunca hijos.
Arriving in the concrete jungle meant looking for ways to earn money while applying and waiting for work authorization.
Trate de salir a vender.
She's selling fresh fruit and water, finding it more profitable than candy, though the city says unlicensed food vending is illegal. First violations can result in a fine of $1,000 according to City Hall. That's why many of these women refuse to share their stories publicly out of fear. Lorena agreed to speak to us, but did not want to be filmed while working. Another challenge, her husband works day labor jobs, leaving her no choice, she says, but to bring her daughter along.
¿Y le toca llevar la niña contigo? Claro, si no, ¿dónde voy a dejar? Yo cargo, a veces duermen. Yo cargo con la sábana y ahí la amarro, empujo el coche y ahí vengo. De eso me he vivido, de eso le he dado de comer a mi hija, de eso le he dado mantención para uno mismo para poner aunque sea zapatos.
It's an issue other cities that have seen an influx of migrants are sorting through, in places like Chicago and Denver. New York City officials say they currently have more than 47,000 migrant families with children staying in the shelter system. New York City is working to ease the burden by providing childcare through the program Promise NYC.
It provides the same kind of childcare support that our other low-income families in New York City get for children who do not qualify for that program because of their immigration status.
A survey conducted by Algún Día, an outreach project specifically aimed at helping the migrant vendors, finding that the need stretches across many families.
We found that 84% of the individuals that we had surveyed were vending out of a necessity, and they were doing so because of their lack of childcare, of like where are they going to be leaving their kid.
Without the work authorization and without a place to leave their child, they don't have another option but to do things like sell candy on the subway or sell fruit at a park.
A few years in, and city funding for the program continues to grow.
That first full year was a $16 million investment, also served anywhere between 620 and 680 children. We were really thrilled this year to get an additional $9 million investment.
That now $25 million investment will get 1,000 children into daycare. Lorena says it's a program she had no idea existed.
No, eso sí no me he contado. Prácticamente no me he contado.
After our interview, an Algún Día social worker connected with Lorena, and within hours, they'd found a place for her daughter.
Now, when I made the phone call to her, again started crying of like, why couldn't this be done sooner? How come I didn't know about this? 5 blocks away from her. This is why we exist, right? It's to let folks know about the supports that are around them, to get them directly connected, and then also to just have them be able to breathe and believe again and fulfill that American dream.
While Lorena continues to earn what she can, about $50 a day, she's hopeful there is a future here for her family.
Valerie Castro joins us in studio. So, Valerie, some New Yorkers may be listening to this report and say these migrant families are getting $25 million worth of help. They clearly need it, right? But there have been a lot of protests and pushback to money going to migrants in New York City. What's the latest?
Yeah, New York City in general, and specifically Mayor Eric Adams and his administration, has faced a lot of criticism for providing support and providing funding to migrants that come to the city. This year, according to city data, the city is projected to spend nearly $4 billion on various programs that help migrants. Next year, that number is projected to be closer to $5 billion. As you mentioned, we've seen protests around the city, around migrant shelters, some New Yorkers not happy with the way that money is being spent. The $25 million on this particular childcare program, that's part of a $100 million package Mayor Eric Adams passed to provide childcare funding across the city, including the city's 3K program.
All right, Valerie, we thank you for that. Coming up, the growing violence in the Middle East. We're on the ground in Lebanon, where an Israeli airstrike has killed 24 people, including women and children. We'll tell you what it all means about the widening war. That's next. We are back now with the escalating war in the Middle East. Israel unleashing a barrage of attacks on Lebanon. The deadly strikes have been largely confined to Hezbollah strongholds in the south, but an attack on a Christian town in the north has residents fearful that nowhere is safe. NBC's Matt Bradley is there on the ground with this report.
In Lebanon, virtually no place is safe from war. In the months since Israel expanded its attacks against Hezbollah, the country's south has been pummeled by airstrikes and a slow and steady Israeli ground invasion. But lately, the country's north has also come under fire. This house in the sleepy mountain village of Eitu is now the scene of one of the deadliest single Israeli attacks since the war here began. 24 people were killed here in an airstrike on Monday. This is a rancid scene. Investigators are still looking through this rubble, trying to find human remains. For the Lebanese, this is a crime scene, but it doesn't involve the usual suspects. This is a mostly Christian area. There's no real Hezbollah presence here most of the time. Israel's military said they had struck a target belonging to the Hezbollah terrorist organization, and that claims of civilian deaths are under review. The United Nations Human Rights Office said the civilian deaths, mostly women and children, raise real concern with respect to international humanitarian law. Eli Alwan owns the property. He said he rented it to a large family of people displaced from the south. Everything was normal, he said, until a visitor arrived carrying cash. The target may be someone who came here and is wanted, he said, someone who belongs to Hezbollah. The victims here were already part of an internal exodus of more than 1 million people. Like many in Eitu, they thought they were safe. That's why many here are now fleeing abroad, becoming refugees. This ship almost always takes cars and freight, but it's a sign of desperation that now its main cargo is people. Hundreds of people have traveled here to the northern city of Tripoli from all over Lebanon. But this is just the beginning of their journey. They have a 12-hour ferry ride to Turkey. Diana is traveling with 7 members of her family, including her elderly parents. She said in the south she saw blood everywhere, children, old people, all of them afraid, and airstrikes all the time by the day. For many, the decision was sudden. You just left everything. And you decided yesterday.
Yeah, we left everything. We left our dreams, we left our stuff, we left everything here.
Manal and her family could have hopped on a flight, but Israeli bombs are landing all around the main airport in Beirut. What did you see? What did you hear that made you want to leave?
We are afraid from the sounds that are facing from the bombing. Our children began crying every day. They don't want to stay in the home. They want to leave. Yes, because of that. You're Lebanese. How do you feel about leaving Lebanon like this? It's very sad, really. We are leaving our homes, our families, our life there.
This journey may lead to something like hope. But right now, on this dock, there's only heartbreak. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Northern Lebanon.
All right, Matt Bradley for us. Matt, we thank you for that. Time now for Top Stories Global Watch, and we start with an explosion in Nigeria. 150 people killed there. New video shows the inferno that erupted after the tanker crashed. Local authorities say many of the victims were killed when they tried to scoop up the spilling fuel from the overturned truck before it exploded. Deadly tanker accidents are common in Nigeria, and people often try to salvage the fuel because of soaring prices. Italy has made it illegal to seek surrogacy abroad. Surrogacy is already illegal in Italy, but now couples will not be allowed to use a surrogate in a country where the practice is legal, like the U.S. Would-be parents could face jail time and fines. Critics of the country's conservative government say it's another crackdown on the LGBTQ community. And a scary moment for the Jonas Brothers after Nick Jonas was rushed off stage during a concert in Prague. Look at this. Video posted on social media shows a red dot briefly on the singer's head before he gets up from his piano and runs out doing the time out sign. His security team following after him, a spokesperson for the venue telling the media outlets someone in the crowd was using a prohibited laser pointer. The concert did resume. No word yet from the Jonas Brothers. We thank you for watching Top Story tonight. I'm Tom Llamas here in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.